Testing. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva and knowledge lady, Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. My apologies for the technical difficulties that we had when I logged in here. I actually kicked myself out twice. StreamYard is very, very picky. One little thing is off. You can't even fix it while you're in the middle of live streaming. You have to completely log out, come back in and relog back in. And StreamYard is very sickening. But anyway, blessings to y'all. Thank y'all for coming back despite the technical difficulties. Big ups to Kai, G Jim, hopefully Poetic Kales and Queens make it back in. Big ups to everybody in the chat room. Again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for supporting me, rocking with me through this movement, still being loyal to my channel. Again, I definitely want to give a shout out to my A1s from day ones. Thank y'all for still being a part of my movement. For those of you who have recently subscribed, I welcome you to Mocha's Cafe de Paris family. If this is your first time here ever viewing any of my content and you like what you hear, please make sure before you exit tonight's chat session that you like, you share, you subscribe. Again, I want to give a big ups to each and every one of y'all. And again, I apologize about the technical difficulties that I was experiencing earlier. But nevertheless, I am here. The sounds and everything is working. So no further ado, we're going to go into tonight's topic. I'm sure y'all probably already heard about it. All of the content creators have been speaking on this situation with Instagram model Mercedes Moore. Houston Instagram model Mercedes Moore found dead at age 33. She was a social media personality from Houston, and she was found dead in her apartment alongside of the suspect. The sad news has affected fans and famous friends of the model who have been quick to share their condolences. The Instagram personality model, real name known as Janae Gagnier, widely known as Mercedes Moore, has passed away on Sunday, August 29th. Police said that they found Mercedes Moore's body in her Richmond apartment at around 4:30 p.m. along the body of the 34-year-old Kevin Alexander Ocorto, who is believed to be the suspect in Granger's killing. It is speculated that Moore's killing was a murder-suicide, but police haven't announced the official cause of the model's death, not as of yet. As they can see, she was not robbed. She did grant the suspect access. What's up, Kels? Welcome back, sis. She granted the suspect access. They did not find no breaking and entering at all in her apartment. Now, keep in mind, she lives in an apartment complex, so he would not have had access to that apartment had she not granted him access. How she was found dead in her apartment. Her father came to check on her when she wasn't answering any of his calls. Medical examiner determined that Gagnier died of strangulation and traumatic concussion. The prime suspect, 34-year-old Kevin Alexander Ocorto of Florida, died by suicide, listed by medical examiner as multiple sharp force trauma. Basically, they explain that in basic kindergarten terms, he punctured himself in the neck with a knife. Suspect was also found upstairs lying in a pool of blood after stabbing himself in the neck when her father kicked in the door to do a welfare check on her. Investigators still have yet to determine the relationship between the victim and the suspect. The motive of the killing also hasn't been determined due to the fact there was no forced entry to victim's apartment, which is in a gated community. So this indicates that the suspect would have not had access to victim's apartment without her authorizing him to have access to it. Gated communities usually require a code, a pass from security, or a buzzer in which the visitor has to identify themselves before they are granted access. So based on the factors, he obviously wasn't a stranger. The apartments where the victim was residing, you can only enter through the back door, front door, or garage. Other interesting facts also surrounding this case, and I'm going to get into that very well. And as we go on, I will be showing you pictures of the suspect in the Instagram model. So we're definitely going to get into this. The reason why I decided to talk about this particular topic was, of course, when things like this hit the Black YouTube sector, there's a lot of Black male content creators. They automatically wanted to blame the female and basically said, a lot of people went in hard, at Mercedes Moore, basically saying she's a gold digger. She got what she deserved. Basically she put herself in a position where she was using somebody, and basically she used the wrong dude. So she brought it upon herself. So you had a lot of these, of course, men, these male content creators. Every time a female makes a bad decision, they cannot wait and upload and do a video to drag all women and say, this is what you get when you using dudes and taking advantage of dudes. And then, of course, there's the female content creators who also wanted to give the Instagram model pass by saying, ain't nothing wrong with, taking dudes' money. That's his fault. He shouldn't have been such a simp. He shouldn't have been such a loser. Yeah, I'm back, King. Thank you for coming back. I had some technical difficulties. So, of course, all of these content creators, whenever it comes to situations like this, they automatically want to choose a side. That way they can basically promote their narratives on women being gold diggers and trying to secure the bag. And of course, like I said, the female content creators, they don't want to give the female no accountability. When the truth of the matter is, this is my opinion on it, both of these individuals are the cause of their demise. Both of them are. Now, here are some other interesting facts surrounding this case. I just found out yesterday that the victim, Miss Alexis Moore, the Instagram model who has over 2.7 million followers, and the suspect, Mr. Accordo, they were basically dead inside the apartment for 2 days. I thought this was something that was discovered within the day it happened, but no, they both had been deceased in the apartment for 2 days. So this is very interesting that no one knew that they were deceased. There was 2 deceased bodies in this apartment complex for 2 days. Now, this is another interesting fact. The Instagram model, she was the one who lived in Houston. But the suspect didn't live in Houston. The suspect was from Florida, which means he took a very extensive drive to come down there to see her, or whatever the case was. Also, the suspect, he did not have a criminal history. So this was not his usual repertoire. This is not on his resume. This man has never been to jail before, never been to prison before. He's never even had nothing as simple as a simple traffic citation. So this dude was not a dangerous dude. As bad and heinous as this crime looks, he does not have a history of being a criminal. So this is why, ladies, you got to be very careful. There's a first time for everything. So he was not considered a threat to society. The heinous crime he committed wasn't something he was known for doing regularly. He was not a repentant offender. Granger had, like I told y'all, had 2.6 million followers, celebrities included. Of course, social media has no chill. Many were commenting on Instagram model's death. Many were going in saying really cruel things, insinuating before investigation was fully conducted that she was the one responsible for her own death. So many are under the assumption that she was taking advantage of the suspect by accepting simp fees and gifts, knowing all along she had no intentions of being with him, but to only use him. The details are very vague at this time. So I won't go too deep into speculations because it's still very this is very cloudy. It's a lot of loopholes in this situation, y'all. But I will say this before I go into deep. My heart does go out to Janae. and her family, and we have to be mindful how we drag folks that are in the grave because they aren't here to defend themselves. And I'm sure had it been your daughter, your sister, or a woman you cared about, you will have a little bit more compassion. So the family is already grieving, so I'm gonna keep it 100, but at the same time, I'm gonna try to be as respectable as possible. So nevertheless, I want to talk about, securing, securing your life is more important than securing the bag. So again, there's been a lot of different opinions surrounding this situation. Everybody just want to blame her, and everybody just want to blame the dude. And I'll say it again, both of them are accountable. They both created their own demise in this situation. So there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. First of all, a lot of people, wanted to give this woman empathy. And I do empathize with her to a certain degree, but let's be honest. There's a lot of women out here that are doing what I would like to call social media prostitution. There's no need of us dressing it up. It's another form of prostitution. Now, I understand because she's deceased and she's not here to voice her opinion. We want to be sensitive, but the truth is, she was a prostitute. There's no way for us to dress it up. There's no way for us to sugarcoat it. She was a prostitute. Anytime as a woman, you are on social media exposing your goodies, your tits, your ass, whatever it is that you're exposing to lure men into investing in you. Men are spending money on you. You're not in a relationship with them. They're buying you gifts. They're cash apping you, sending you money. It is prostitution. Only difference is now women, they do prostitution in a different way because of social media. It's more convenient for them to prostitute. Back in the day, prostitutes had to walk the track. Okay, there was no social media. There was no Instagram. You couldn't post any thirst trap photos. Prostitutes had to actually walk the track, as they would say, whole stroll, walk the streets to look for John, approach his car, say, what you doing tonight? You want to have a good time? I charge you $20 for some head. If you want some, you want some on top of head, then that's going to be another $200-300. So a lot of these females today, because they're advertising their goodies through social media, they don't think they're prostituting, but that's exactly what it's called. You are a prostitute. I don't care if you have an OnlyFans. I don't care if you have an Instagram. If you are advertising your goodies, if you are advertising your assets, men are paying you. Even if they're not sexually penetrating you, you never had sex with these men. If you are accepting gifts and monetary funds from men that you're not in a relationship, you are a prostitute. Okay, so we're not going to dress this up. We're not going to try to water it down and say Instagram model. No, she was an Instagram prostitute. She was accepting money not only from Mr. Ocorto, but several men. Okay, so let's just call it for what it is. Now, I found it very ironic that when all of this came out, of course, her family, her sister, and all of them came to her defense. And of course, nobody wants their loved one dragged. You know what I mean? Especially when they're already in the grave. Nobody wants their loved one dragged. Nobody wants their loved one talked bad about. So her father said something very interesting to me. To the reporters. He said that his daughter lived a very private life. And I'm like, how is she living a private life when she consistently exposed herself publicly? There's nothing private about an Instagram model who's always advertising her assets. Anytime you expose yourself publicly, there's nothing private about you. And like I said, it's called thirst trapping. That is how she made her hustle. A lot of young women in this day and age, that is what they do. They post these provocative pictures. And again, we don't want to talk about it, but a lot of these females would not be making the money they make if it wasn't for these simps. There are men that are thirsting over these type of females, women that they can't even touch, women who they can't even fuck, women who they would never get that opportunity to even smash. You got dudes out here kicking out simp fees faithfully to these women. These women with these type of females would not be posting these type of pictures if men weren't paying for it. Now, whenever I'm in a certain area and I see a bunch of prostitutes hanging out, or, you know, I see an area in which there's a lot of thirst trapping going on, the first thing I think to myself is, who's paying for it? Because they wouldn't be out here if nobody was paying for it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Everybody wants to blame the women. And although the women are at fault, there are thirst dudes that are paying for this type of women. These are dudes I would like to call imitation alpha males. Men who try to pretend behind closed doors like they're so alpha, they ain't thirsting for females. They not seeking validation from women. You have a lot of undercover beta males who pretend to be alpha. They go in these chat rooms, act all masculine and dominant, and act like, you know, they not thirsting for women. They not seeking women. They don't want women. What's up, American Nia? You have these imitation alpha males that are behind closed doors, undercoverly doing things that better males do. They're paying simp fees for these women. You got dudes up here buying stoves for women. You got women, dudes out here traveling, going long distance to see women. You know, that's catfishing. A lot of these men, and I'm not going to say all men because that's a biased statement, because all men are not undercover beta males. But the majority of these dudes, they pretend to act masculine around other men, but behind closed doors, they are thirsting. They paying for women's rent. They paying women mortgages. They paying women car notes. And then they get around men and pretend to be so masculine. Like, I ain't no better male. I ain't about to sit up here and pay for no woman rent. I ain't about to pay for her mortgage. And they're the main ones who faithfully be investing into these thoughts. Faithfully. Because let's just keep it 100. A lot of men, not all men, but some of these men who pretend to be alpha males, but they doing better male things, paying for women to see them and this and that. Truth be told, some dudes, some men, the reason they keep spending money on women because they don't have nothing else to offer. All right? Men, that is why as a woman, I've never been impressed by men who spend money on women. And women, you should not be so blinded by the dollars that you can't see past the smoke. Just because a man is spending money on you, that don't mean he's really feeling you like that. The truth is, you have some men that lack so much confidence, the only thing they can do is spend money on a woman because they don't have nothing else to offer. Truth is, some of these men, their game is so weak, they cannot pull a woman unless they pulling out dollars. Let's just be frank. Some dudes have to have money because that is the only way they're going to get a woman to pay attention to them. Now, a real man who's confident, who has good game, he can pull a woman without always having to pull out his wallet. Okay, but the better male who pretends to be an alpha male, who pretends to be so masculine when he gets around these other dudes, these are the main dudes that are quick to pull out their wallet and they didn't even get to smell it yet. They didn't even get to pull down the panties, but they're already pulling out the wallet. Yes, these same ones that go in these dominant masculine spaces who try to act like they're so masculine, they're doing better male things to pull women. And they will sit up here and lie to other females like they can pull any woman they want. And they'll even lie to other dudes. There's a lot of undercover imitation alpha males who can't pull a woman to save their life unless they are pulling out their wallet. And let's be truthful. A lot of unattractive males, men who are not that attractive, men who aren't that good looking, they're the main ones to pull out their wallet. Not only that, if they're not pulling out their wallet, these are the main ones who got to buy extravagant cars. They have to wear designer label suits, designer label gator shoes, because truth be told, had they not had these alpha male trinkets, these high value trinkets, meaning nice cars, nice suits, expensive shoes, most women wouldn't even give them the type of day. They have to put up this persona that they are so financially well established, because that is the only way women are going to find them appealing. So you have a lot of inconfident dudes. They don't have confidence like that. So the only way they can earn the attention of women is by spending and splurging. But these would be the same dudes that is get around other dudes and lie and talk about black women ain't shit and women ain't shit. But these are the same ones that's paying black women rent, paying black women mortgage, paying black women car note, thirsting, cash apping her, sending her money to get her attention, because he knows he's not attractive enough to get her interested in him for who he is. And honestly, it's a lot of unattractive dudes who know they don't naturally got that sex appeal that will automatically make women drawn to them. They got to go all out. They got to get those high value trinkets. They got to drive that 2020 Lexus. They got to get that $200,000 that $2,000 Armani suit. They got to get them 1,500 Versace gator shoes or whatever, because they don't have no game. Woman ain't gonna look at him twice unless he look like he got something. And guess what? Usually the men who do this are dudes that are always bragging on what they got. The confident man, he don't have to brag on what he got. He don't have to wear expensive shoes to lure women. He can rock a regular shirt from Walmart and can still pull a woman just based on his confidence, just based on his level of intellect, based on how he carries himself. What's up, Miss Sassy Diva? It's not always about $1. You got to have good game. But some of these dudes, their game is just as watered down as sugar-free Kool-Aid. So they got to dress, they got to be the best of the best. They got to wear the top of the line clothes. Because underneath all of that, they just average dudes that the average woman wouldn't give the time of day. So with this situation here, you know, this particular dude has been invested into this Instagram model for quite some time. And him, like many other men, he put himself in a simp situation. Not a situation, a simp situation. For those of you who are not familiar with what's a simp situation, is when a man puts himself in a situation to be simped. Okay? You have, like I said, these imitation alpha males who are undercover beta males around here spending money on women who they know do not want them. Okay? They know these women don't want them, and yet they will go in their bank account and pay these simp fees, hoping the more they keep investing in these women, eventually they're going to get something out of it. Now, if y'all are not familiar with the situation about this Instagram model, I'm going to see if I can share a screen with y'all, because I want y'all to see this. I want y'all to see who this dude is. And you can basically tell just by looking at this type of man, she was never going to be interested in him, no matter how much money he spent on her or invested in her. I'm going to share the screen in a little while. And this is another thing, you know, with the situation. Again, it's been a lot of men who've been coming down hard on the Instagram model by saying, you know, she was thirst trapping and things of that nature and all of that. What's up, underrated darkness? You know, a lot of people been giving her a lot of heat. But what a lot of people don't know, because as I stated to a lot of y'all, which y'all should know by now, I work in law enforcement, okay? And I've been a correctional officer almost a little close to 3 years. And truth be told, we're in a society in which a lot of men are becoming more emotional by the day as the women that they complain about. You have a lot of emotional dudes who have no discipline over their emotions. Just because a man voices that he's masculine, or he acts masculine, or he looks masculine, me and my line of duty, I can tell each and every one of y'all in this chat room, all the men that come in my correctional facility where I work at, these same men who look masculine, they dress masculine, they act masculine, they look masculine, and underneath all that masculinity, they are very emotional dudes. I can tell y'all, I can count on my finger how many men are in my correctional facility for strangulation, for strangling a woman. Just like this man here who has strangled this particular Instagram model because his ego was bruised, his self-esteem was so shot because he kept putting money into a woman that he could not get to like him. He could not get to love him. And before he killed himself, this man took one of her lipsticks and wrote all over her mirror and all over her walls how much he loved her, how much he wanted to be with her. He became obsessed with a woman who didn't want him. And when he did not get the attention he wanted, because he was the one who was paying these simp fees, nobody forced him to pay these simp fees. He was paying these simp fees faithfully. And what a lot of men have to understand, do not keep putting money into a woman who's not showing you the gratitude that you are looking for her to show you. If you've been spending money on a woman for 2, 3, 4 months, and you see it's going on 4 months, this woman still ain't gave you any, she still, ain't showing no real interest in you, she still ain't trying to be with you, you need to quit while you ahead. Don't keep putting money into a woman who's not showing you that she's feeling you like that. But again, you have the imitation alpha male who thinks as long as he's spending money on a woman, eventually he's going to land her. And the sad part is, and I'm guilty of it, I'm not going to just throw this young lady under the bus, because when I was young and dumb, I did it. And the worst thing any woman can do is take money from a man who you're not feeling. And a lot of women are guilty of this. You accept the money from a man, you let him pay your bills, you're accepting gifts from him. In this day and age, it's very dangerous. What's up, Cookie Dough? It's very dangerous to accept money from men and you're not feeling them, because in this day and age, we're dealing with a lot of emotional dudes. A lot of these men are very emotional. And the reason I know that is because I work in a correctional facility where men are constantly being arrested just on the strength that they can't handle their emotions. There's 4 black males in my correctional facility right now. They're in there for strangling a woman. Either whenever it gets to a point where as a man, you got to strangle a woman, you don't have no control. You've lost control. It should never get to a point to where you so badly want to be with a woman, you so badly want a woman to want you, that the moment she disrespects you or gives you an indication that she's not feeling you like that, you got to choke her out to get her under control. If anything, when you have to resort to that, you have lost control, because in the end, not only you lost control, you're going to lose your freedom. Because you're going to get arrested, you're going to do time. It should never be worth it. It should never get to the point where a man has to put his hands around a woman's neck because he's feeling defeated. And I see it all the time. I've had 3 men in my facility so far. 2 of them are serving life for strangling a woman to death that they could not have, a woman that they could not control, a woman that they could not manipulate. And because of that, their egos got the best of them to the point they had to kill them. We're in a generation, we're in some times where men are very emotional. You got men who will argue with women for hours at a time. The masculinity in the Black community has watered down. And and if anything, I will tell women this. This is not the time to be challenging dudes all kind of way, because we got too many emotional dudes in the Black community that cannot handle a woman getting the best of them. Now, back in the day, men would never allow women to get them out of their masculinity to the point to where he's so angry he got to cuss out, he got to put his hands on her. Men back in the day, they had a lot more discipline. They was not as emotional. They didn't allow women to get them so upset and angry to the point they cussing them out and putting their hands on them. But in this day and age, you cannot challenge these men anymore, because men are way too emotional now. They're more emotional now than they've ever been. Remember back in the days, ladies, you could push a boy, you could hit a boy and run and leave, and he would just laugh it off. Remember how it was back in the day? Well, in this day and age, these young men today, if a girl hits them, they're going to hit them back. So women, do not take advantage and figure because you're a woman, you can get away with using a man and taking advantage of a man, and he's not going to want to strike back. Because you got too many dudes that are emotional. And in this case, this dude was very, very emotional. He could not handle the fact that this Instagram model, she didn't want him. After she used him, she didn't want nothing to do with him. She wanted nothing to do with him. He got rejected after all of the money he put into her, after all of the time he put into her. He didn't get anything in return, because had he was getting something in return, had he been getting something out the deal, it never would have resorted to the point in which he would have had to murder her. He killed her because what happened was he'd been paying all of these simp fees, giving her money, giving her gifts. And after all of that, she still didn't want him. And like I stated, that's the most dangerous trick any woman can do, is to accept money from a man who you know you don't want to be with. Exactly. American, it's true. If they are raised by a woman and you hit them, they will hit you back. Yeah. We're in a day and age where, again, you have a lot of emotional dudes. Hell, dudes have become so emotional. You can't even go in the chat room these days and not have an opinion without these men coming at you. I've been in chat rooms just having an opinion about something. And here it is. It's always the dude with the bruised ego. It's always the emotional ass dude that got to challenge my talking points because he's so damn emotional. We're in the era, ladies, where you cannot challenge men because most of them are too goddamn emotional. You have a difference in opinion. They arguing with you. Now, I find it ironic because, again, at the correctional facility where I work, there's this one particular officer that I'm cool with. He's Jamaican. And he was telling me in his culture, he said Jamaican men, they don't argue with women. He said whenever it gets to a point to where a man has to argue with a woman, he has already lost his masculinity. He said Jamaican men are from a culture in which they are taught that whenever a man has to respond like a woman by screaming and yelling and throwing the B word and throwing the whole word, he has automatically lost his masculinity. He said because it should never get to a point in which a man gets out of character with a woman by acting like a woman, by responding like a woman. He said, in my culture as a Jamaican man, we don't argue with women. We say what we got to say, and we walk off and leave it at that. We're not going back and forth and arguing with no women. He said, that's not masculine. He said, I'm not understanding how American men are built off of masculinity when they argue with women so much. He said, I knew he wasn't saying that to be saying that, because there was a correctional officer, she was a female, who blatantly disrespected him in front of me. She asked him to go do something, and it wasn't what she said, it was how she said it. She said it very nasty to him, and even as a woman, I felt it was disrespectful, the way she asked him about it. And he didn't even respond. He just did not respond. He didn't say a word. And I'm not used to that, because I'm so used to men arguing with women. I'm so used to men responding like a woman. I'm used to seeing men in this era be argumentative with women. So it was weird to me when he didn't say anything. And I asked him, I said, this woman just disrespected you, and you didn't say a word. He said, because it's in my culture. It's in my culture to where men are not men if we are arguing and going back and forth with a woman. He said, and he said something very interesting to me. He said, this Jamaican officer on my job, he's a Jamaican guy. He says his culture, you're not going to see too many Jamaican men arguing with women. We will walk off and leave. It's just not in our blood. And he further said, think about it. He said, women by nature, y'all are designed to be argumentative. That's why y'all voice is louder than ours. That's why y'all have a high-pitched voice. He said it's in y'all nature to be argumentative. Not only that, y'all are emotionally built different from us. So it's in a woman's nature to be argumentative and to nag. He said, but think about it. Men, our voices are very deep. And you notice as a man, when we try to get loud, you notice how our voice will screech. You notice how our voice, when we do try to get loud like y'all, our voice will crack or scratch, because men, God didn't design us to be yellers. And I was like, wow. I never heard a man speak like that. He said, that's why our voices are deep. We have bass in our voice. Our voices are not designed to respond and yell like women. I've never heard that analogy. He says God did not design men to be argumentative. He said, I could hurt a woman more by walking off and leaving her there to look stupid. And actually, it'll work. When our officer didn't get the response she wanted from him, she had no choice but to leave the situation. Now, had he been like these imitation alpha males today, had he went back and forth with her in that jail, it could have escalated. But him being a masculine man, he said, it's just not in my nature. I refuse to argue with a woman. I'm not going to do it. She's taking me out of my masculinity. You can't tell these dudes that today, though. They will argue with women. They will go back and forth with women. It's just an ongoing ego thing. But then at the same time, they will preach that I'm masculine, I'm dominant. You screaming louder than me, sir. You yelling more than me, sir. I have had inmates get overly emotional because all of the inmates I'm over male inmates. I don't deal with female inmates anymore. I'm over male inmates. I've seen more male inmates get more emotional than female inmates. This is the reason why a lot of these dudes, this is the reason why a lot of these dudes, let me tell you something. There's so many emotional dudes. They can't handle a loss in a fight. So what they do, they go back and shoot a man. They kill a man just because of words. A lot of male content creators, they will not address the fact that there's a lot of watered down masculine men in the black community that are constantly and consistently letting their emotions get the best of them. Why? This is why the prison system is overcrowded. A lot of emotional dudes who allowed their emotions to make them go kill a man, to make them go murder a man over a misunderstanding, over some words, over egos. Men are becoming more emotional than women. I see it all the time. I see in the clouds. Again, as a woman, you can't go in the chat room without some ego bruised dude coming in the chat room, targeting you, saying something to you. Be different if as a woman, you being disrespectful and you challenging these men, you disrespecting these men for no reason. I've gone in chat rooms respectfully just to give my opinion, and it's always the ego emotional dude that wants to come in checking for me. Well, why are you in here? Why are you stating your opinion? Dude, why are you so emotional? Why are you even talking to me? Why are you saying anything to me? You have some men, they cannot handle their emotions when they get around women. And this is what happened with this man here. He had become so infatuated with this Instagram model because he was paying all these simp fees. He been splurging on her, buying her gifts. And eventually, he caught on when it was too late that this chick is using me. What's up, Jonathan? Blessings to you for coming in the chat. As a man, if you don't sit up here, you've been spending money and simp fees on a woman for 2, 3, 4 months, and she ain't gave you none yet. Red flag. You in a simp situation. Not a situation, a simp situation. You put yourself in a situation to be simped. Been 3, 4, 5, 6 months. What's up, Ishmael? She still ain't checking for you. She still ain't trying to be with you. She still ain't claiming you as her man. You put yourself in a situation, sir. Take an L and keep it moving. Now, again, with these imitation alpha males who pretend to be masculine around other men, pretend to be masculine around other women, but do some simp shit behind closed doors. Spending women on money. Spending money on women. Traveling to go see women who stand you up when you went way out of town thinking you're going to get lucky. I've seen dudes travel out of town thinking they're going to get laid and get played. Simpsuation. Simping at its finest. Simpsuationship. Exactly, American. I've seen men spend thousands of dollars to go to another country to see a woman they never even seen in person, only to get there and she stand them up. I've seen men, these imitation alpha males who do better male things behind closed doors, spend money on women who they never even seen in person. And social media has made it worse. All the woman has to do is present a profile picture, and dudes are simping, sending cash out, sending money, and never even seen her live, never seen her in person. But we have these same dudes that want to sit up here and say women are emotional. No, you're emotional because you're not thinking logically. Why are you sending money to a woman you've never seen, you've never had a date with, y'all have never even had a FaceTime conversation where it's just you and her, you seeing her live, she's seeing you live? Exactly. I think just about every man at some point has had one situationship. You learn from it, you grow from it. Okay, so I want us to talk about this Instagram model, okay, who got murdered by this low self-esteem spineless simp who couldn't take an L. Now, I'm sure he's not the only man who's been used. And Matt, in fact, I'm sure just about every man in this chat room has gotten played once or twice by a woman, and you kept it moving. You learned, You didn't get to the point to where you had to strangle her and kill her because you felt just that bruise. Your ego was just that hurt. So I'm going to share with y'all the screen so we can see together. So let me put this over here. Family of Texas Instagram influencer says she was strangled by stalker. Okay, so this is the voluptuous, beautiful Mrs. Mercedes Moore, who was murdered over the weekend, and she's with her dad. As I stated before, I'm just repeating this again, y'all, because we got some people who's just coming in the chat. So some shit I'm gonna be saying that y'all don't already heard me say before. I'm not going to read every little tiny thing, but as you can see, Mrs. Mercedes Moore had 2.7 million Instagram followers. She died of strangulation and traumatic concussion. And this is the alleged killer, Kevin Alexander Ocorto, 34. Now, this is the dude. Now, look at him and look at her. What in the hell made him think he stood a chance with a woman that voluptuous, that beautiful, and that attractive? He was paying them simp fees. Those simp fees made him think that eventually he was going to win her over. And the thing about it was, she was going to keep tricking off of him. And I wouldn't be surprised, Jonathan, because everything on social media is never what the hell it looks like. People be buying their own followers and buying their own subscribers. It's a lot of fakery going on, fuckery and fakery going on. But this we do know. For this dude, this we do know. Rather, if she was faking followers, for this man to get to the point to where he felt the need to strangle her, he had invested in her. He was a simp investor. A lot of simp investors, when they cannot get what they want out of a woman after they have spent thousands of dollars paying bills, paying car notes, paying rent, paying mortgages, he became infatuated with this woman. He became infatuated with her. Now, again, there was no proof of breaking and entering in her apartment. So therefore, he had access. She granted him access to her apartment. Now, I don't know if she allowed him to come over there because he was bringing money. He was going to spend some money on her. But somewhere she felt comfortable enough to allow this man to come to her apartment. Because, again, she lived in a gated community. He would not have access to that gated community if she didn't grant him access. Absolutely, Jonathan. She knew him. She knew him. He was a simp investor. He was a simp investor. Let me see what the comment is here. Ganger's father said he discovered their bodies. He couldn't get her to answer the phone. He said, so he had to kick in the door. I walked in and Janae on the floor and her clothes are all torn up and stuff. Mark Ganger said, I go upstairs, guy upstairs with a knife in him, still alive. I couldn't do anything but stand there and call the police. So basically, this simp was such a coward. The moment he heard her father come in and kick the door, he automatically took himself out because he automatically punctured himself because he knew had he not punctured himself, her father was going to kill him anyway. He knew that. So he took the coward way out. He wasn't man enough to accept the consequences. He wasn't man enough to take accountability. I murdered this woman. I'm going to do the time because I committed the crime. He wasn't man enough to do that. So instead, he took himself out. And again, the Black community just wants to keep choosing sides when it comes to not taking accountability. It's always the male content creators that say women don't take accountability, or it's the females who will say men don't take accountability, when really you have irresponsible people who will not take accountability for their actions. So again, he punctured himself in the neck because he knew the moment that man walked in that house and saw his daughter there dead and lying in a pool of blood, her father was going to kill him. So either way, he was done, and he knew it. What's up, Queen? Welcome back, dear. Appreciate it. They need to go back and investigate her phone calls and text messages and bank transactions. Oh, all of that is coming. All of that is coming. You know, all that's going to come. And the sad part is they're not going to be able to charge him for anything because he's dead. This is not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go to court. There's nothing else that's going to become of it because the victim and the suspect both are dead. Police said it was a murder suicide. The woman's parents believe she was killed by a stalker. He was not a stalker. This was a simp investor. This was a man she knew that was supporting her lifestyle. That's why she allowed him to come over there. This was not just a stalker. She knew this man. Her mother said she's very cautious about her surroundings. Unfortunately, someone basically was stalking her and killed my baby. Now, again, I have sympathy for the parents, but I will also say this much. A lot when it comes to being a parent, because I'm a parent myself. As a parent, a lot of us want to believe we know everything about our child. Especially in situations like this, you don't want to believe as a parent that your child put him or herself in this situation. But truth be told, her parents are in denial. You know, they're in denial, and I said it before and I'll say it again for those of you who didn't catch it. Their daughter was a prostitute. And I hate to be disrespectful about it. She was a prostitute. I don't care if you're on social media. Anytime you are accepting royalties and gifts and funds from men that you're not in a relationship with, you're men that are strangers. I don't care if they're cash apping you. I don't care if they're PayPaling you. Whenever you are investing money, and anytime you are receiving funds from men, by showing your assets, by showing your tits, showing your ass, even if there was no sexual penetration that took place between you and that man, the fact that you was receiving and obtaining funds through your assets, that is prostitution. Yep, he was the sugar daddy, the emotional sugar daddy. Because one thing about it, a real sugar daddy, he don't mind paying his money as long as he's getting what he's getting and he keeps it moving. Now, if you're a man, if you catching feelings for the women that's tricking off of you, then you have already put yourself, you are a certified simp, because you should not be getting emotional off of women that's tricking off of you. That's part of the game. You cannot be paying these broads for their services, whether if it's sexually or them just, advertising their goodies. You can't be catching feelings for women that are only tricking off of you. And that is where he failed at. And this is the reason why, as women, you have to be very careful. Accepting money from men who you don't want. It's very dangerous these days, because again, men are too emotional these days. You cannot accept money from men because you don't know what type of dysfunctional mental malfunctions you may be up against. This was a man who did not have a criminal history. He's never been in jail before. I'm gonna exit out of this, y'all. He's never been in jail before. He does not have a criminal history. He's not a repeated offender. This was a man, like Queen said, who was very unstable. In his mind, he felt like she owed him something. And you have some men that are like that. That's why women do not need to be going around here coaching other women about, girl, get what you can get. Secure the bag. Get your money. Get your money. Be about your money. F these niggas. Get your money. Make your bread. Make your money. Women who walk around with this gold digging attitude where like they can use men and take advantage of men and nothing's not going to happen to them. This is a prime example. And that's why I tell my daughter the same thing. My daughter's 20 years old. And I tell her the same thing. I said, look here, don't be taking money from dudes who you know you're not attracted to, who you know you're never going to give any, who you know you don't like. Don't be sitting up here accepting money from these men because, again, we dealing with a generation where dudes are emotional. Dudes cannot handle rejection. Yep, these same alpha males who act like they so confident, who pretend they don't need validation from women, who pretend they're not looking for women to desire them. You have a lot of these imitation alpha males that are really undercover beta males who try to act like they don't care if a woman is not interested in them. They don't care if a woman rejects them. These are the same men. A moment a woman don't want them, he cuss her out. Think about it. We're in a generation now where men are so emotional. If you're in a grocery store somewhere and a man's trying to hit on you and you tell him I'm not interested and you're being respectful about it, you ain't telling them something like, get the fuck out my face. You're being respectful, saying I'm married, I got somebody. They'll get an attitude. You have men that have just become just as emotional as the women they complain about. Men getting attitudes. Men want to argue with women on social media over difference in opinion. We have a lot of watered down masculine dudes that get emotional about everything. They screaming at you. They responding. It's men that respond to women like women. They will yell at women. They will argue with women. They will go back and forth. And these are men that are going back and forth with women they don't even personally know. It's one thing if you kind of arguing with your wife or your girlfriend or something like that. I've had men who don't even know me attack me in the chat room just because I had a difference in opinion. Getting all emotional because I don't like their favorite content creator, or I got an opinion about their content creator. This is the most emotional masculine generation of men I have ever seen. Get mad about everything. I'm not used to this. Back in my era, men never allowed women to get them out of their character. A man will say what he got to say, make his point, and keep it moving. These men will argue with you like you in a damn in a damn salon with other women. They will go back and forth with you for hours. So now, when I find myself in a position with a man that wants to argue with me, I find myself having to be the man and walk away. Because you have men who want to argue with you all day like they women. So I find myself having to be the bigger person. I got to be the man and daddy. Okay, I'm going to let you have the last word, sir. And not only is it like that in social media, I work in a correctional institution where I have grown men who act like little boys when they can't get their way with the law. They want to try to manipulate female officers. And they want to try to manipulate the system. And when we don't give in to their demands, then you're called bitch. Then you're called hoe. Then you called slut. Then they tell you bad bodied. Anything to try to attack your character as a woman. I deal with that on a daily basis in a correctional institution. I see emotional males day in and day out when they can't win an argument. Here, they want to throw B-bombs, bitch bombs. That's when you know a man has already lost his masculinity when he starts throwing bitch bombs or hoe bombs. Because now he doesn't have other words in his vocabulary. He's losing the argument. So now we're going to just go to disrespect. When a man can't deal with you direct, he goes to disrespect. When he can't get you in check, he goes to disrespect. He will call you out your name, bitch, or attack something about you. He'll pick on your physical appearance. He'll say something about your hair. This is very feminine. Why are men worried about women's hair? That is a feminine quality. Why are you attacking my hair as a woman? As a man, why are you worried about my feminine attributes? Why when the argument is lost, you have to find something feminine on me and attack that? Back in the 60s, think about it. King Ba, King Ba is one of my older guys in here. And I'm sure the rest of my other guys could attest to this. King Ba, back in the 60s and the 70s, I've never heard a man get in an argument with a woman and talk about her hair. If so, please let me know in that era. Yeah, like we got some old school guys in here. To all my old school guys that's 40 and up. When men used to argue with women back in the 70s and 80s, I don't know about y'all, but I never heard my granddaddy talk about a woman's hair. And my grandmama used to rock wigs day in and day out. I never heard my granddaddy talk about my grandmother's wigs. I never heard it. Oh, okay. So King Ba justified that. You 29? Okay, Jonathan. Well, you don't talk like you're 29. You talk older. You don't act like you're 29. You one of the few that actually are mature. Jonathan says, I was raised around mostly women. I have 6 sisters and 1 brother. Every time I get in an argument with women or my girlfriend, I end the argument fast. Yep, and that's how my husband is. My husband, he refuses to argue with me. He will give me a certain look where I just know to shut the fuck up and not say nothing. There's that certain masculine look when a woman knows, okay, you pushing your buttons, shut the fuck up, because now you about to bring the beast out of him. All women know that look. Happy belated birthday, King Bob. 48, God bless you. So yeah, again, we're living in a generation in which dudes are very emotional. You cannot take these dudes' money no more, and they accept the L and they keep it moving. Back in the day, if a guy took you out to dinner and he didn't hear back from you, he didn't think nothing else of it. He didn't make it an issue. What's up, Joe? Blessings to you. Good to see you, Joe. Welcome to the chat. Back in the day, now you let a man take you out to Red Lobster for a cheddar biscuit and don't call him back if you wanna. He's stalking you. This is a different era. So for anybody who's coming, I'm talking about this family of this Texas Instagram model who was murdered. She was murdered by her simp investor who was simping and investing and putting money into her. And basically, he couldn't handle the fact that he couldn't make her want him. Now, as I told y'all before, I work in a correctional facility. There are a lot of black males that are getting locked up for murdering women who they cannot have. I'm telling you what I know. I see it all the time. Thank you, Queen. Emotional men are dangerous. And I'm not saying all men. Let me put this out here. If it doesn't apply, you ain't got to reply. I'm not saying all men are emotional. But you have a lot of emotional dudes who walk around here trying to pretend that they alpha male, they red pill, and the moment a woman makes them mad, they're doing things that women do. What's up, Matt B? They're getting emotional. I did a content. I did one of my inmate chronicles content about an inmate who was so emotional he couldn't get the woman he wanted. He strangled her with a pair of leggings. He strangled her to death. They just sent him up the road. He's been up the road now, I think about 2 months. He got life with no parole. He was one of the inmates at my facility. Matter of fact, I can show you him. I can show you him. I'll show you him. Now, for those of you who have been keeping up with my content, y'all should have already caught the story when I uploaded it a couple of weeks back. Joe says, unfortunately, we have a lot of men out here that don't understand how their masculinity and femininity could come into play. Absolutely. Absolutely. You as a person, you got to have a grip on your emotions. And like I stated, there's so many men in my facility, so many inmates that are in my facility because they let their egos get them emotional. Yeah, you remember that, Queen? Yeah, he strangled her with a pair of leggings. I'm gonna actually show you him. I'll show y'all who he is. This was one of the inmates at my facility. Let me share. Okay, share. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all him. This is Mr. John Paget here. Port Wentworth man indicted for murder and woman's strangling death. He was actually in Unit 4 in the males unit with me. He was one of the inmates under my authority. Port Wentworth man on Wednesday was indicted for murder and related charges on January 23rd of Juanisha Medley on Mercy Boulevard. John Paget, 30, caused the death of Medley by strangling her. The Chatham County grand jury said in returning a malice murder charge. The grand jurors also indicted Paget for felony murder by causing the death during an aggravated assault with a pair of cloth leggings used as ligature. Medley, 26, was found dead at the Joseph's Landing Apartments, Mercy Boulevard on January 24th after officers were called to the apartment for a welfare check. So he was arrested on January 25th, but they went ahead and gave him life without parole or whatever. So he just started serving his time in prison, and he will never ever be getting out, ever. And this is the young woman he strangled. See if I can find her. All right, this is the woman he strangled. Mrs. Juanisha Medley. As you can see, very attractive. From what after doing my research on her, she was a church-going female. She took care of her kids. She wasn't what I would consider to be like a thought. You know what I'm saying? You could tell she was one of those women. The way she carried herself, the way she dressed, she didn't have a bunch of thought thirst trap pictures all over her Facebook. You could tell she was a woman. She took care of her kids. She was somebody that was about something. And whatever took place between him or her, evidently, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. And let me tell you something. He was not the average bum type dude. This guy was actually a gym instructor at Planet Fitness. So when I say there's so many emotional dudes on so many levels, it's not just guys that are bums that don't have a job. You have men out there that got good jobs, making good money. He lived in a nice apartment complex. He just wasn't the average, better dude. But underneath all his masculinity, he was a very emotional dude that basically couldn't handle a woman not wanting him. See all comments. Queen says he even strangled her with leggings, women's clothing. Yep, he did. So he strangled her in her own apartment, which meant he strangled her with her own pair of leggings. You know how much strength it takes to strangle somebody with a pair of leggings? That takes a lot of strength. So he was definitely in a rage. That's why you have so many childish, confused, and angry men on YouTube. Yep, I agree, Joe. 3.5 billion women in this world. No reason to do such things. Simply find someone that wants to be with you. Exactly. It can happen to any woman who comes across the wrong man. Hell yeah. You could be at the wrong. All it takes is to give the wrong man attention. That's why I tell women, don't be taking money, accepting gifts from men who you know you're not interested in and you know you're not attracted to them. So this is just an example. There's another inmate. Okay, another one. He's in there too. For strangulation of a female. I'm telling you, this strangulation is starting to become a common issue in the Black community. Emotional dudes who can't handle not being wanted, they got to kill women. Here's another one. He's also an inmate at my facility. His name is Sean Bolden. He's also in there for strangulation of a woman. The details are still pretty vague on that, but we do know he did strangle a woman to death. So they linked him to a homicide case. Let's see. Okay, so they spoke with the victim's mother, who said her daughter had been shot in the area. Okay, so but I know strangulation was one of the charges he also had. But we'll talk more about that another day. But I say all that to say this is that you have a lot of men who cannot handle their emotions, who act like they so masculine, but the moment a woman, once they feel like a woman has used them, has played them, first of all, you have to realize again, just because you keep putting your money out there on a woman, that does not mean you're going to get her to like you. You're going to get her to win you over. If a woman truly likes you for you, if a woman really is feeling you for you, you're not going to always have to spend money on her to keep her interested. Now, don't get me wrong. A woman don't want a broke dude. This is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, you shouldn't have to. The only time you can see a woman or be with a woman is when you spending money on her. Y'all can't just kick it or have a good time just being together, just, doing things together without you always having to come out your wallet. That already shows you what her mindset is. That already shows you her mindset. Evidently, this man, he had a lot of low self-esteem issues. My thing is, anytime a man falls in love with a trick, that's already a big sign that you got low self-esteem. No man, let me tell you men something. No man should be falling in love with an avatar that you have not seen. You should not be falling in love with an Instagram model you never met. You should not be sending thousands of dollars cash apping to a woman that y'all never even went out on one date yet. Something is wrong with your mental psyche as a man if you are catching feelings for a woman you never saw, you never been with intimately. Something is wrong with that. That's exactly. Straight incel. Let me tell you something. You got dudes falling in love over a picture. That's just how watered down these so-called masculine men, they falling in love with damn pictures. A woman don't even have to show who she is, and y'all falling in love with her. Y'all defending her. And my thing is, you should never fall in love with a woman that's tricking off of you. Because for one, she's only using you for what you have. She has no interest in who you are as a man. She only has interest on what you can provide. She's not interested in you. Anytime you have a man who falls in love with a woman he knows nothing about, he has low self-esteem issues. And social media has made it worse. It's a lot of dudes on social media getting catfished, putting money into women who they have absolutely no clue who they really are behind closed doors. Hell, if it's even a damn woman. Now, that's why I tell my daughter, and this is another thing, women have to stop coaching other women about securing the bag. Because, again, you don't know the mental psyche of some of these men that you're using. Like my daughter told me, there was this older guy who she ran into or something that she met at the bar. And he had offered to take out the dinner or whatever. And she said, you know, he was cool and whatnot, but she just wasn't interested in him. You know, he was nice, you know, but she was like, he just wasn't interested in him. So he called her back like a day or so later and was saying, well, what happened? I didn't hear from you. We went out to dinner. We had a good time. What happened? What's going on? I mean, I haven't heard from you anymore. I told her, listen, cut that dude off right away. How after one goddamn dinner, he already looking for you to be at his beck and call? I said, nah, something is up with this dude. First, he offered to buy you furniture out the blue. And you don't know him like that. This is when my daughter first got her apartment. He offered to buy her furniture, want to furnish her apartment. And I said, I don't give a damn how bad you want your apartment furnished. You do not accept any money from this dude because you don't know him like that. So she didn't accept any money from him, but just one dinner, he was expecting something to come out of that. And that's when I told her, I said, look, if you're not interested in the man, don't accept any of his offers. Not even something as simple as a dinner at Red Lobster. This is where a lot of young women, and I will say a lot of older women, we have created a lot of these young women, we have made them think that it's acceptable to use a man even if you don't like him, to use a man even if you're not attracted to him, to use a man even if you already got a man. You cannot go around here playing with people's emotions because, believe it or not, you have a lot of women who think like this. Well, I didn't ask, he offered. Even if a dude offers you, that still does not warrant you to accept it. Because it's nothing but a bait. It's nothing but bait to get you to agree. And while you're thinking, okay, it's just all he did was buy me a furniture. All he did was take me out to dinner. In the back of his psyche, he's looking at it more than that. He's looking at it like if you're accepting what he gives you, then obviously you have some type of connection or you have some type of liking for him. When you accept an emotional dude's low self-esteem man, when you accept his gifts and his gratuities, in his mind, you're making him think you're interested in him. You cannot accept gifts from men who you do not want. Now, if you're feeling him, you know you want to be with him, y'all are in a relationship, that's different. But stop accepting money and gifts from random dudes. This man probably, I wouldn't be surprised, he probably offered. What's up, Mover Chrome? He probably offered to pay for her stuff because, again, a lot of these red pill guys, they're not going to touch on subjects like this, but a lot of these red pill guys, they're not sitting up here and really being transparent and saying that some men spend money on women because that's all they got. They're not confident enough. to just get a woman to like them for them. I showed y'all the picture of the guy. You can look at him and tell he's not very appealing to women. He looked like a scruffy type of dude. You know, he looked like somebody who would live at the Salvation Army shelter. You can look at him and tell he's not the type of man that's used to getting a lot of attention from women because he's not that attractive. You have to be, now, let me tell you something, ladies. You don't just be cautious of the ugly dudes, because you have some attractive dudes that are just as dangerous, because you have to realize the men that are very attractive, they're not used to being told no. So the moment a woman rejects them, they can be just as crazy and dysfunctional as the unattractive dude. So you can't think it's just ugly or unattractive men who you got to be cautious of. Matt V says, the dude that murdered that model looks like someone that had to cut grass and shave up for a month just to be with her. Yep, probably missed a few bills and everything. Exactly. There's no telling how much he sacrificed to try to be in the graces of winning this woman over. And because of her beauty and her booty, she was going to take him for everything he had. And she was never going to give him anything in return. He basically became infatuated with a social media prostitute. And again, I don't say this to be disrespectful. Any woman, even if you got an OnlyFans account, if you're accepting money from men, showing your assets, you're a prostitute. Instagram model is just a nice way of saying social media prostitute. Let's just keep it a buck. Because I'm tired of us dressing up these labels. Instagram model. No, social media prostitute. Thank you, Marvel Chrome, for the $10 donation. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. But so basically, I'm kind of where you are, King Ba. Something took place in that apartment for him to snap and kill her. Now, this is not to say she deserved it. This is not to say that he was right. Because men get used every day. Women get used every day. Just because somebody uses you, that does not give you the right to kill them. All of us have been used, taken advantage of. It's going to happen, especially when you're thirsty. Thirsty people get used real quick. Desperate people get used real quick. When you so willing to put yourself out there to make a person want you and you still can't get nothing in return, it happens all the time. Now, this is my theory. I don't know. I don't know the young lady. And I don't know the man, the suspect. I don't know any of them. But what I do believe is something took place in that apartment between the both of them. Now, I don't know if there was a conversation that took place. We could come up with 1,000 theories. Only person who knows what really happened is her, him, and God. And whatever the investigators, whatever elements they could come up with regarding the case based on the crime scene, based on the evidence, we really don't 100% know. But what I believe, there was a conversation that took place and he did not get the answer he was looking for. I believe he asked her, he confronted her. Something happened. Something took place in that apartment. Either he asked her, are you ever going to be with me? I've been putting all this money in you. I'm not understanding. I thought we had something going. Somewhere she pissed him off. He did not get the answer. Again, this does not justify him murdering her. This does not justify it. It does not justify him killing her, regardless of what. He should have not killed this woman. But somewhere, something took place in our conversation where he realized he had been played. He did not get the answer he was looking for, which caused him to snap and kill this woman. In his mind, he felt that she was obligated to him in some form or another. Somewhere he felt in his dysfunctional mental psyche that she owed him something. Now, what was that something? That something could have been a relationship, or that something could have been sex, something he was looking for, and she denied him, and he snapped. Yep. Could have been something as simple as, I don't want to see you anymore. Matt V says there was writing on the wall in the apartment where he says he should have stayed in Florida and was used for money. Yep, and you're right, Matt V, because I was trying to dig up that report and I couldn't find it. I'm glad you clarified that. And Matt V is right, because I saw it in the report. He wrote on her apartment with one of her lipsticks, he should have stayed in Florida. He came all the way down there looking for something. The man came from Texas. How long of a goddamn drive that is? Texas to Florida, that's some damn driving. I don't know if he flew, he caught a flight, made the details will come out later. But he didn't travel that far just to be denied of something. And a lot of these young women, they do that. And that's why any of you older women, any of y'all that are mothers, any of y'all that are aunts, if you have young women in your family, if you got daughters, you got nieces, and you see them taking advantage of certain men, please, you need to pull them aside and talk to them. At the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do, but you need to let them know it is not cool. Because a lot of these young girls, in their mind, they think it is cool to use men for money. And if they're not careful, they could end up in a situation where they use the wrong dude that already is a narcissist, already has psychological issues. I work in a correctional facility where I see a lot of nice looking guys that got psychological issues. I've had inmates who one day talk to me really calm and be like, "Good morning, Officer so-and-so, good morning, blah, blah." And out of nowhere would just snap at me. And I didn't even see it coming. As a matter of fact, it was when the last time I worked Friday. I worked night shift. My whole night shift was smooth. They have no issues. And all the inmates, everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. Didn't have any problems. Next morning, when we had to get up doing pill call, we do what's called pill call. That's when all the inmates take their medication, take their medicine. And one of the inmates in the facility, "What's up, Sasha? No problem. I'm gonna leave my upload up, so whatever you didn't catch, you'll be able to catch the whole stream." And this was, I kid you not. That's why I tell women, you got a lot of psychologically damaged men. I'm telling you what I know, because I work in the field where I see it all the goddamn time. A lot of these male content creators, they're not going to look out for you women and tell y'all, look, you got some men out here that's psychologically not all there. Now, all these male content creators, they just want to talk on women that are crazy. They want to talk on women that are psychologically damaged. But a lot of these men don't look out for women and tell them you got a lot of troubled psychological dysfunctional men out here, and I'm telling you, got to be careful. One of these inmates was one I never had problems out of. He stayed in his room. He was always chilled. He stayed to himself. Never gave me any issues. Now, the only thing I didn't like about this inmate was all the time he would call me pet names that I wasn't comfortable with. Whenever I have an inmate calling me sweetheart or telling me I'm beautiful, I check them right then and there, because I don't want them to get comfortable with calling me pet names. You get what I'm saying? Because it comes off as fraternizing. And that can pretty much cost you your job. You get what I'm saying? So I had already addressed him before about not calling me that. Whenever I would make rounds and do my security check and I had to pass his cell, he'd be like, good morning, beautiful. What's up, beautiful? Sir, do not address me by that. You address me as officer, blah, blah, blah. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. All those other names that you're calling me is not acceptable. We're not out on a date. We're not in the street. We're here at the county jail. So do not address me in that manner. Now, even after I told him that, he still kept doing it. You get what I'm saying? Every time I came by, so I got to the point, I said, you know what? I'm just like going to ignore this idiot, because I can't keep repeating myself but so much. And it's not like he was threatening me, so I couldn't write him up for it. You get what I'm saying? So I would just ignore it, thinking eventually he'll get tired, see he's not getting the response he wants, and that'd be that. So he was already upset with me that I addressed him, checked him about calling me that. Then there was another time, one of my inmates that was cleaning wanted to give him a pack of soups, and I don't allow any of the inmates in my facility, I don't allow them to pass commissary, because believe it or not, commissary is a small thing, but it's a big thing, because commissary has led to fights. Commissary has led to a lot of drama, because these dudes are taking commissary from each other, and then they're not paying their debts off to other inmates. Like, you inmate, I give you 2-3 packs of my soups, and next time you get commissary, you're supposed to give them back to me. You don't give it back to me. You intentionally pack your bags and cross the red line so they can move you to another unit. That way you don't have to pay me my debts. It's a lot of mess that comes behind commissary. So I don't let any of the inmates in my unit, I don't let them pass commissary to each other, period, point blank. You're not going to do it on my watch. All right. So he already was upset. That was the second thing he was mad with me about, was I would not let another inmate get a soup, give him a soup. I said no. So I knew at that moment he was going to kind of be in his feelings with me, because again, men have become very emotional. They hold on to shit like women. They stay mad and hold grudges like women. Men who try to pretend to be so masculine and so alpha, they hold grudges like women. All right. So this particular morning, like I said, I had a smooth night. The inmates was cool, calm, and collective. Didn't have no trouble. The next morning, I had to grant him access and pop his door open so he could come down and get his medicine. So when he came down to get his medicine, he just started talking real crazy out of his head. Like, you know, bitch this, bitch that. And I'm like, okay. So me and the nurse, we looking at each other like, what the hell is going on with this dude? So anyway, he starts talking out his head really crazy, and I can't like make out what the hell he's saying, because he's talking in gibberish. He's talking like he's on meth or something. But the few words I was able to make out was he got disrespectful towards me and the nurse. Out the blue. Nothing happened. Just out the blue, just became disrespectful. So I told him he needed to go lock down, or else I was going to call that code 1078. 1078 is when you call a code and you have all the officers within the jail come to that facility, come within your wing, and they lock that inmate down. So he was trying to put on this scene for whatever reason, and disrespecting me, disrespecting the nurse. And you could tell even the other inmates was pissed off. Like, come on, it's too fucking early for that. You know what I'm saying? Half of the inmates asleep. Half of the inmates is quiet. They chilled. Nobody didn't feel like this chaos this early. You know what I'm saying? It's 6 something in the morning. Child's getting ready to come. So I got this fool cutting up, acting up. He goes up to the stairs, talking all type of trash, disrespecting me, calling me out my name, whatever, whatever. So I told him to go lock down. He like he didn't want to lock down. And that was when one of the other inmates said, man, come on, man. Go on to lock down, man. We ain't got time for that foolishness, bro. Like, for real. So for him to try to play crazy with me, but when I noticed another inmate told you to go lock down, your common sense kicked in. So you wasn't that crazy. So basically, my corporal, I called him, told him what was going on. I said, look, I need you to come in this wing because it's just me and the female nurse in here. I'm not going to wait for something to jump off the call for help. I'm letting you know you need to come in here and step foot in here now. Because I don't put nothing past any of these dudes. I don't put nothing past them. So when my corporal comes in, he goes and he locks down. So the rest of the morning, he was just totally being disrespectful. Still saying all kind of stuff behind the door, talking about suck his dick, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And usually I don't entertain inmates when they go back and forth. I very rarely go back and forth. But this morning, I was already agitated. I was ready to get off. And I told him, I responded, I don't suck dicks of meth heads. And that's exactly what I told him. You a meth head, and I'm not sucking no dick of no meth head. So he goes back and forth, and I said I had to gain composure of myself and I had to talk to myself and said, you know what? This man has psychological issues. You're going to drain yourself mentally and emotionally going back and forth with him. Because even as an officer, no matter how professional you are, certain individuals, depending on how your day is going, they can really take you out of your character. Now, I will say this doesn't happen to me a lot. It doesn't happen a lot. Yeah, you do have to have a lot of patience, Sasha. It doesn't happen a lot. It's like any other job. You know what I'm saying? You could be working at Burger King and you have this one nasty customer that come up there and talk to you fucked up over the fact that you missed to put cheese on his hamburger. And you know what I mean? So it's like any other job, but then it's not like any other job. Only difference is you're dealing with inmates. You know what I'm saying? So basically, he had threatened that he was going to kill me. And I love when they threaten me. Because whenever you threaten an officer, for one, you get a charge. And for two, you get moved out the unit. So when he threatened that he was going to kill me, I said, can you repeat that again? Because I wanted the camera to catch it. Yeah, I said, I'm going to fucking kill you, bitch. I said, thank you. I just wanted to make sure the camera caught that. As soon as the camera caught it, I was able to write him up, call my corporal, let my corporal know what was going on. And he said, no problem. We're going to send him to the hole so you good. So I say all that to say this, is that as a woman, you cannot underestimate the psyche of how a lot of these men out here think. Because again, this was an inmate who was always cool, calm, and collective. And out the blue, he just snapped. And all of his true colors just manifested in one day. And his personality within that day was totally different from the personality that I have seen the last 4 or 5 months. So I say that to say this is that this is why you have to be careful of how you take advantage of men and how you use men, because while you're up here taking his money, accepting his gifts, he's calculating in the back of his mind. He's calculating while you thinking it's just taking a gift, you think it's taking money. Everything you take from him, his ass is mentally calculating, and he's keeping up with what he's giving you. And the moment when you don't give him what he wants, he's going to snap. And I'm telling you, I see it all the time with these inmates. These inmates come in first liking me because I'm one of the officers. I'm cool, calm, and collective. I don't talk to them nasty. I'm not mean to any of the officers. And I mean, I'm not mean to any of the inmates. So when they first get to know me, they like me because I'm the cool officer. But the moment I write them up or I call them out on their bullshit, I've seen these masculine buff dudes, 6'9", 275, 80 pounds. I've seen them act like bitches when they can't get their way. Exactly, Movochrome, the perfect example of when motions supersede. That's exactly what happened. So all this masculine red pill talk, it means nothing to me because I've seen the most masculine men get feminine as hell when they can't get their way. I've seen all the bitch assness come out of them. Where they want to argue with you like a woman, disrespect you like a woman. You're dealing with, just like you have men that's dealing with a lot of women that are not feminine, just like there's not a lot of feminine women. Men are finding it harder these days to find feminine women because women are so masculine. You have to also keep in mind that there's a lot of women that's going to have a harder time finding men that are really masculine. It's getting harder and harder for men to find women that are feminine, and it's going to be just as hard finding women for women to find men that are really masculine. It's like the roles have reversed, you know. And again, I'm around emotional men all of the time. I've seen grown men have an attitude because they can't get an extra peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or they can't make another phone call because it's lockdown time, or because you won't let them get commissary or gamble and play cards and do, you know, gamble and whatever. I've seen them act like bitches. So all of this red pill talk and everything, it means nothing to me because I've seen the most masculine men act feminine. And if you hang around, and this is the thing, if you hang in this space long enough, if you hang in the black YouTube sector space long enough, slowly but surely, you will start seeing a lot of these men reveal, these so-called alpha males. You will slowly but surely start to see them revealing their feminine colors. They get emotional, they get mad, want to argue with women. And another thing is, I'm from the old school era where I'm not used to seeing men bitch and rave and complain about a woman. I've never seen you have men that get on platforms and they will rant and rave about a woman for hours at a time. For hours. Now, if a man wants to rant and rave about another man, I can respect that. That's a masculine thing. But when you see a man rant and rave and be so bothered by a woman to where he has to constantly talk about her every time he uploads or does content, that just goes to show the masculine toxicity, you know, what I would call masculinity corruption. I was talking about this the other day, the masculinity corruption that's going on to where men are just so pressed by females, even though they can't stand women, and they claim how women are of low value, but they keep addressing the women who they feel don't have any value. I'm not understanding. It's a lot of contradictory to me. If women are not that important, or if you feel like a certain woman doesn't hold value, she shouldn't hold value to a man, then why would you keep addressing these women? Why you want to keep talking about? It's several other things you can talk about than to be hating on women. And I honestly think a lot of men, and I'm not saying it's the case with all men, so let me clarify that. I think that some men like to keep attacking women because they don't have the balls to attack other men. So it makes them deflect. So that way it doesn't look like they're weak. By attacking women, that makes them feel like they're basically preserving their ego by attacking women. But notice when it comes to men, if you pay attention to certain male content creators, if they're not attacking a man as much as they're doing women, that is because it's easier to attack the woman, because by nature, even biblically speaking, women, we are the weaker vessel. So it's easier for them to attack us because they know we're more fragile. Okay, so this is God designed women to be weak. That we are designed to be weaker than y'all. We're designed to be weaker than y'all when it comes to our emotions. We're designed to be weaker than y'all when it comes to how we address things. We are designed to be weaker. That's what makes a woman, and that's what makes a man. But what I find is very ironic is when you have a man that consistently wants to keep attacking women, because that's a cop-out for him. It's easier for him to challenge a woman than it is a man. It's easier to challenge a woman. It's easier to attack her looks. It's easier to attack her physical attributes. It's easier, but you're not going to do it with the man, because then it looks like you're like you have some homo tendencies. For instance, a man is not going to attack another man about his hair, right? A man is not going to say, well, he need to do something with his hair. Why his hair look like that? Or why he dressed like that? A man is not going to attack how another man looks, because he comes off as being homo. So it's easier to attack a woman. It's easier to attack her hair. It's easier to attack her face. It's easier to attack a woman because in this society, it's regarded as masculine. It seems like the more you attack a woman, the more masculine you come off as. And it's really not masculine, because women, we are designed to be different. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the society we're in which men are finding it easier to make females a punching bag. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times where you have females that get out of character, and they do try to handle a man like a man. Now, if you're a woman and you get out of character and you're going around disrespecting dudes, you're calling them out their name, and you're provoking fights and arguments, then you deserve what you get. You can't not use your feminine card when you bring a gun to a knife fight, and now that the man is putting you in your place or going in on you, you can't pull out that feminine card after you challenge this man, and all of a sudden, oh, well, I'm a woman, why are you coming at me like that? Because let's face it, sometimes women, we can be manipulative in our own way. We could start the fire, and then once the smoke gets strong, we run from it and say, well, why are you coming after me? Because I'm a woman. Don't provoke a man at the same time if you're not willing to take the repercussion. But some of these dudes are so emotional, you ain't really got to do much of nothing to them. All you can do is disagree, and he's attacking you about your hair, about your skin color, about you too short, or you too, it's nothing masculine about a man attacking a woman's physical attributes. There's nothing masculine about that. If you're not interested in a woman, the best way to hurt a woman, if you really want to try to prove a point, is by not giving her attention. Because by nature, women, we love attention. Let's face it, women love attention. So if you really want to get a woman, if you really want to prove a point to a woman, basically you just ignore. Don't even acknowledge her. That'd kill her more than you going behind her and going back and forth and disrespecting. Like I said, if she bringing a gun to a knife fight, then all bets are off. But like I said, in this day and age now, this is the reason why this man snapped and killed this woman, because he couldn't handle rejection. He couldn't handle it. So the moment he didn't get what he wanted, he snapped. And that's why I tell a lot of these older women, we have to stop teaching these young women that it's okay to use men and take advantage of them, because I'm telling you what I work at and what I do for a living. These guys are emotional. They're getting arrested for beating women, killing women, physically injuring women, because they couldn't handle rejection. They couldn't handle a woman not wanting them. I've seen stories in which women who put men out of their apartments, put men out of their house for using them. A woman finally get tired of a man taking advantage of her. She thinking she taking them in. He gonna man up. He gonna pay the bills. He gonna provide. And she comes to realization, this man ain't gonna help me. He just using me. And she puts him out. I've seen men who got put out of women's houses who come back and kill a woman or go back and kill a woman's child because he's angry that she won't allow him to be the better male that he wants to be. You have a lot of emotional men out here. But guess what? These men are not going to talk about it. They're just going to say, women, we the one that got the problem. We the one that's emotional. Women, we're supposed to be emotional. That is how we are designed. We are not, our emotions are nothing like y'all's. So, of course, we're going to be over the top about things. We're going to, take things out of context because women, we are designed to be emotional creatures. But a man being emotional, like Queen said earlier, is dangerous. And you're having a lot of emotional dudes that allow their egos to get the best of them. They're not winning the woman they want. They're not getting what they want out of the woman. And once they feel like they've been rejected or used, they can't take an L. They got to resort to killing and murdering, and this is the new times that we're living in. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, love you. I mean, common sense. We're built to be emotional. Ishmael said, I never been one to worry about the next man does, or as I understand what meant for me. But for me, rules goes around abroad. The board. I agree. Natalie loves all. What's up, ma'am? Do you think they attack because secretly they hate their mothers when they see women as? Now, I will say this. There's different elements in which certain men, because like I said, if it doesn't apply, we don't want to reply. If it doesn't apply, you ain't got to reply. I'm not referring this to all men, just men who got mommy issues. That I really believe, Natalie, that is one of the elements. Anytime you're dealing with the man who has not had a positive relationship with his mother, that can definitely play a significant role in how he treats women and how he responds to women and how he communicates with women. We see it all the time. God bless his soul. DMX, rapper DMX, he did not have a good relationship with his mother. And he has even said this multiple occasions that he did not have a good relationship with his mother. And that played a significant role in how DMX was able to connect with women. That's why DMX had so many multiple relationships with women and had so many multiple children from multiple women, because he didn't have his mother in his life to nurture him and to show him the love of a mother, in which he didn't feel so deprived, in which he felt like he had to be with so many different women to get the love and attention he wanted. And so I truly believe this is another reason why it's important as a woman, when you're dating a man or you're involved with the man or you and the man or have a commit commitment to one another. It's very important that you know the type of history he has with his mother. If not that, some men have had great relationships with their mom, but if he was raised in a household in which his father always dominated everything and his mother acted like the slave to the man and she never had a say so, her opinion was never respected, he may get with you and expect you to be like his mother is. Expect you to be one of those women that bow down, be overly submissive to the point to where you can't have an opinion because he was raised in that type of environment. So not only you have to be cautious of men who didn't have good relationships with their mother, you got to also be cautious of men who have had mothers who were overly submissive. And there's a difference between being submissive and being a slave. As a woman, I feel women, we should be submissive to a significant degree. There's nothing wrong with allowing a man to lead and be the head of the household. But I strongly feel a dysfunctional man should not be leading the household. An ungodly man should not be leading the household. A confused man, an irresponsible man, he does not qualify to have leadership abilities and lead a woman anywhere. And that's the problem. You have a lot of these guys out here promoting this red pill toxic content that a man is supposed to lead, a man is supposed to run the show. But if that man is dysfunctional, if that man has psychiatric issues, if he has had things that he has had to go through in his childhood, he didn't get any spiritual help for it, he didn't get any psychological help for it, the only thing he's going to lead a woman to is destruction. A confused man, a dysfunctional man, he is not fit to lead anything. And that is the problem. Exactly. What's up, Red Mike? Exactly. That's why when Ayanla tried to coach DMX, he automatically went ham on her. Like, who are you? My own mother didn't have no love for me. Even if Ayanla was speaking to him in a nurturing and a soft-spoken way, he still couldn't receive it the right way because his own mother did not nurture him. And a man who has not been nurtured by his mother is not enough love in the world a woman could give him for him to fulfill that void. DMX left here a very broken man because he did not have a good relationship with his mother. And there's a lot of men out here who didn't have the best of relationships with their moms. So they got here looking for women to be the mommy, to nurture them, to validate them, to make them feel important, to make them feel like they have a purpose. So it's very important as a woman, whenever you're involved with the man, you have to be aware of where he comes from. Same thing with a man. It's no different. A man, if you're going to deal with a woman, you got to find out in her history if she has daddy issues. Because some women, they're not looking for a man, they're looking for a daddy. They're looking for a man that's going to do what daddy should have did. Daddy wasn't around to provide, so now she's looking for a man to provide. Daddy wasn't around to nurture, so she's looking for a man to nurture, to fulfill that daddy void. So it goes both ways. That's why you have to know the family history of the man and the woman who you getting involved in, because let me tell you something. Everybody don't look like what they go through. Just because a man is well-dressed or a woman is well-dressed, you can be well-dressed and underneath be a hot mess. That don't mean anything. You have a lot of well-dressed, successful, got college degrees, and underneath all of that, broken-spirited individuals who have traumatized events from their childhood that they have learned to suppress. Because one thing about the Black community, we have programmed ourselves to look like we got it together, even when we don't have it together. The Black community, we have learned how to put up a facade through our materialistic means, through our success. That's why I don't get hyped off of none of these YouTube coaches, because underneath all the success, a lot of them are a hot ass mess. A lot of them just done learn to play the role to get you to invest in a channel, to get you to invest in a brand. And underneath all of that, they are just as dysfunctional and just as confused. There's a lot of people around here that are giving advice and are coaching people and leading them to destruction. Because the truth is, everybody who's up here appointing themselves to be coaches, appointing themselves to be experts on relationships, you got to look at their past. How can you give advice about relationships when you have been in multiple relationships, or you haven't been in one relationship long enough for me to see that you are creditable and being able to teach what you're teaching? And the thing about Black people, we don't go by solid. We don't go by what's solid. We go by what's popular. Black people are the most the Black community has always been easy to manipulate and deceive, because Blacks, we have always been trained and raised into going off of what we see versus on doing our research and finding things out for what they are, finding people out for who they are. Matt V said, leave home before you begin looking for a lifetime mate, especially if you know your father or grandchildren. Exactly. But again, that the Black community, we are built off of the foundation of denial. Long as it looks like somebody knows what they're talking about, they can look like they know what they're talking about. People don't have to produce no receipts no more, none of that. They can just say, oh, I'm an expert at telling you how to get a good man. Okay, well, where's your good man at? I'm an expert at telling you how you can get a good woman. Okay, well, where's your woman? Black people, y'all don't ask no questions. Whatever people tell y'all, y'all just go right on with it. Y'all don't do no research. Y'all don't investigate nothing or anything. We did when you could expose her boyfriend right now. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, like I said, the Black community is easy to manipulate. But again, you know, I'm going to be wrapping things up, but this situation with this young lady who was using this man for his money, using him, you know, as a come up to benefit off of him. This is a prime example of why women need to be very cautious. Don't go around using these men because you don't know their psychological being. You don't know their childhood. Did this man who killed this woman, we don't know his childhood. We don't know if he, and this is not to justify him murdering her, but we don't know if he grew up with mommy issues. We don't know if this man came from a stable family. We don't know if this man had mommy issues and his mother never wanted him, which is the reason why he was spending money on this woman, seeking love and seeking attention. You have to realize, just because a man opens his wallet and he's so quick to offer paying your bills, or a man is so quick to cash app you, for one, anytime a man is eager to want to give me something, in the back of my mind, something is wrong. Why are you so eager to want to give me money? And you've never seen me. We never went out on a date. Why are you so eager to give me money? And money has been the demise of many women, because women have been trained. We're in a society where women are being trained that you're supposed to secure the bag. You're supposed to go after a man who has money, a man who can provide you with a lifestyle. But what they're not teaching us is that some of these men, especially these dysfunctional, narcissist, psychologically malfunction ones, they give money too. They are providers too. And what are you going to do when you have set up here and accepted money and gifts from a man who has become obsessed with you? He won't leave you alone. He won't stop stalking you. You women, you can't be accepting these dudes' money and then you want to get rid of him. You're tired of him. You don't want him calling you no more. You don't want him You don't want nothing to do with him no more because you done got all the money and you done got everything you wanted out of him. He's running you down. He's stalking you. He want to know why you ain't calling him. He want to know why you ignoring me. You don't want to open that door, and then when you get sick of this dude or he doing too much, you want to throw him away like garbage. Because again, we in a society where men have become just as emotional as the black women they complain about. They get on us for being emotional all the time. Black women emotional, black women too emotional. But then you got these black men around here that's just as emotional. I know because I work in the correctional system. I see them all the time. Crying, getting mad over stuff that's stupid. And I'm telling you what I've done. I'm not knocking this young lady. I did it. I was covered by the grace of God. I took money from guys. I knew I wasn't going to see them again after he gave me $60, $70. I said, as soon as this dude done paying for my meal, I'm not calling him no more. I've done it. It could have costed me. But dating then is different now. You can't take these dudes' money. You can't play with people's emotions. Don't be lying to these guys, making them think they got a chance with you. And he up here spending money, thinking one day you're going to be his girl. One day you're going to be his woman. And you turn around and you tell him after he done spent thousands of dollars on you, oh, I ain't feeling you like that. What? That'll make anybody mad. You know what I mean? Put yourself in a position. I mean, women, we do it. We just do it at a different angle. You have women who will sit up here and keep sleeping with a man. She thinking as long as she keep giving him some, eventually he going to be her man. Only to find out he tell her, I ain't ready for no relationship. After you done slept with him 5, 6 times. He could have told you that from the jump. He waited till he got all of this out of you to tell you, oh, I ain't trying to be with you like that. So women, we have gotten used in our own way. We have gotten used, and you got women up here using men. But this is a prime example. Do not use these men for their money. I don't care how bad. I don't care if you're 2 months behind on your rent, ladies. I don't care if your Toyota Camry, they're going to repo it tonight. Don't be calling these dudes and reaching out to them and asking them for money. They pay for your bills. They get you out of debt. And now you want him out your face. You tired of him. You want him to go on about his business. He not going to go on about his business when he been spending thousands of dollars on you. And another thing with you men, if you done spent certain amount of money and this woman still ain't checking for you, she still ain't trying to be with you, you need to quit while you ahead. Don't keep spending more money thinking, okay, eventually she gonna see I'm the man for her. She gonna see I can do stuff for her that other men can't do. Because you got some women out here crazy. They'll take money from the good dude and end up with the no good dude who ain't spent a dime on them. Your money took care of her and the other dude she wanted who ain't never gave her anything. So don't put yourself in a simp situation. So definitely, I just thought I would share this content because again, everybody was speaking on this situation, and it's still more that's going to unfold because we really don't know what happened. We don't know what took place, but the only thing we do know out of this is 2 lives got lost, and both of them caused it on themselves. Her life got lost. She caused her own demise by using a simp who was already spineless, who already evidently had psychological issues that couldn't handle rejection. She used him and she lost her life in the process. And he, on the other hand, he was the cause of his own demise because he kept investing and putting money in a woman, putting time in a woman who did not want him, who did not love him, who had no interest in being with him. So both of them caused this. We're not going to pick sides because I peep that's what you content creators been doing. Y'all picking sides. Y'all want to just blame the woman because y'all want to prove that all women are gold diggers. Or y'all just want to blame the man and say, well, he knew she was a trick. You don't play with people's emotions. Don't take people money because you don't know what's going to come behind that. So anyway, y'all, I hope y'all Labor Day has been awesome. For those of you who have not subscribed, please make sure y'all subscribe before y'all leave Mocha's congregation. Also, I am working on my first novel called Forbidden Lust. It's going to be a very good read. So y'all definitely be on the lookout for that. This is going to be my first book that I'm actually working on, and hopefully I should have it finished by next year. So definitely be on the lookout for my first novel that I'm going to be publishing very soon. So anyway, y'all, it's been pleasant. I thank y'all for hanging out. I appreciate the $10 cash app. I appreciate those of you who could not cash out, but you stopped by to show your support, to show your love. I appreciate y'all as well. So anyway, y'all, this is your Diva and Knowledge Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off a slice of knowledge. Y'all be blessed. Take care.